Come take a trip in my airship. Come take a sail among the stars. Come have a ride around Venus. Come have a spin around Mars. No one to us while we're guilty. No one to see while we school. Come take a trip in my airship and we'll visit the man in the moon. Will the audience...
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Airship 27 podcast, number 87. I'm your co-host, Chief Engineer Rob Davis, alongside Captain Ron Fortier. Hey, Ron.
Hey, loyal airmen, and welcome as ever. The show isn't going to be too long today. We've got a few books we want to talk to you about, but of course, same old merriment, and we may obviously go off the rails a few times here and there, as we usually...
Well, that never happens.
That never happens. Hey, look, before we get started, and we're going to start with Rob's bad joke of the podcast.
No.
Right, we got one little sobering notice I wanted to mention, and that's give our condolences to our artist buddy from Portland, Oregon, Warren Montgomery, who at the start of this week lost his mother. She passed away.
Heard that. I'm sorry to hear that.
It was on Facebook. I sent our condolences, and from the dates that I saw, I think she was born sometimes in 1930, Rob. So,
oh, wow. So she's been around a while.
Yeah, wow. She has. She hopefully, God bless her, she led a really good life. So, hey, Warren, we're really sorry for your loss. May she rest in God's loving embrace. And thank you. Just the kind of guy you are speaks volume for the kind of mom you had. God bless you.
There you go.
All right. Hey, Rob, this is it. Let us have it, buddy.
Okay. Well, this is supposedly a true story, but okay. The following is an actual question given on a University of Washington engineering midterm. The answer was so profound that the professor shared it with his colleagues, which is why we now have the pleasure of enjoying it as well. Bonus question: is hell exothermic, gives off heat, or endothermic, absorbs heat? Most of the students wrote proofs for their beliefs using Boyle's law. Gas cools off when it expands, heats up when it is compressed, or some variant. One student, however, wrote the following. First, we need to know how the mass of hell is changing in time. So we need to know the rate that souls are moving into hell and the rate they are leaving. I think that we can safely assume that once a soul gets to hell, it will not leave. Therefore, no souls are leaving. As for how many souls are entering hell, let's look at the different religions that exist in the world today. Some of these religions state that if you are not a member of their religion, you will go to hell. Since there are more than one of these religions, and since people do not belong to more than one religion, we can project that all souls go to hell. With birth and death rates as they are, we can expect the number of souls in hell to increase exponentially. Now we look at the rate of change of the volume in hell because Boyle's law states that in order for the temperature and pressure in hell to stay the same, the volume of hell has to expand as souls are added. This gives two possibilities. One, if hell is expanding at a slower rate than the rate at which souls enter hell, the temperature and pressure in hell will increase until all hell breaks loose. Two, of course, if hell is expanding at a rate faster than the increase of souls in hell, then the temperature and pressure will drop until hell freezes over. So which is it? The postulate given to me by Miss Teresa Banyan during my freshman year that it will be a cold day in hell before I sleep with you, and take into account that the fact that I still have not succeeding in having sexual relations with her, then number two cannot be true, and thus I am sure that hell is exothermic and will not freeze. The student received the only A given. So in other words, hell did not freeze over because he didn't get to sleep with his...
that was worth every bloody minute of it, Rob. That was a riot.
Long, but
and oddly enough, okay, I'm going to tease you because We've talked about this, you and I. Okay, there are never coincidences in this world. Right?
Oh no.
My joke has to deal with the Almighty. We'll wait till the end of the episode.
Okay. Well, all right.
All right.
Okay,
Hey, look.
so that's why you were laughing. All right.
Hey, okay. So here we go. Oh, yeah. Folks aren't going to forget this one. Let me tell you. Okay. We want to start the show with a little bit of afterthoughts. Rob and I sharing some experience because we got back to Pulp Fest this year, and we hadn't those shows since we came back, and so I thought we'd talk a few minutes about how much fun it was seeing a lot of our old Pulp fans that we hadn't seen in over 4 years. For some of you loyal airmen who don't attend these shows or can't for whatever reasons or whatever, right? The two big Pulp shows are Windy City in the spring in Chicago, and then we have Pulp Fest in Pittsburgh at the end of the season. So the kicker is a lot of people go to one show or the other, but rarely do both shows. And we got that, but it never impacted us as much as the realization of it being in Pittsburgh this year and seeing so many old friends that we missed, that we hadn't seen in Chicago over the years. All right. So in that regards, the show was a tremendous hit. I mean, we had a blast. We were sitting right across from Wayne Carey and his ever so charming wife, Brenda. Got to hang out with them for the weekend. She is a hoot. Brenda, I love you. If you're listening to this show, it was a joy for Rob and I to be your con partners. And right to the right of us was our good amigo, Martin Graham, always there and fun. And again, we saw tons of good people. Highlights to me, Rick Lai winning the Muncie Award, which is so well deserved. Truly, cool. Very cool. If anybody deserves a title of pulp historian, it's Rick. He is a font of knowledge about classic pulp history, the characters, publishers, and everything else. Anything you want to add, amigo?
Yeah. No. Are we going to talk about the return, or are we just going to...
Right? Right.
Yeah, it was.
There's two sides to every cloud. All right. And you can. And briefly, why, as much fun as that was, it's probably our swan song at Pulp Fest.
Yeah, afraid so. Yeah.
Well, it's logistics, people. It's what it is.
Yeah. I think about this afterwards. Our sales were mediocre at the show, but the thing is, we haven't been there in so long. I don't think people expect to see us there. So they're not primed to come to our table and to purchase books from us and to do all that. In order for us to get back into the position where a lot of people would come by the table, we'd have to be there year after year after year. And it's just not, the logistics aren't, it takes an extra day for me to get there. I stopped partway there and spent an extra night in a hotel. Now, fortunately, this year I had points built up in a hotel club that I am in, so I could stay free the 2 nights. But that's not going to always happen. So it's just not going to work for us. Plus, Ron can tell you the story about his return debacle. I guess there's no better way to put it.
Flying today is a nightmare, and I'm sure probably every single loyal airman listening to this show right now could probably share their own with us. All right, I keep getting delayed. My flight out from Denver to it, I got to the counter to find out I'd been put on standby. Never mind the flight had changed; they put me on standby. I mean, what a mess. Okay, I finally, a little schmoozing and a little, hey, I have to be in Pittsburgh this, and they got me there. The kicker was I'm leaving Sunday night. Rob gets me to the airport early in the afternoon, all right, and heads home. He's got this extra traveling day to do it, right? So my flight leaves at 9:00. Well, when I get to the airport, it's on schedule. It's fine. I see where the gate is. So time goes by, right? I have dinner at the airport, and I'm seeing people gather, and 200 or so people that are going to be on this flight, right? I keep checking the board. 20 minutes to 9, I look at the board, and it's gone. The listing is gone. It's not even listed. Yep, just like they canceled it. They just totally canceled it. the crowd of people at that terminal, Rob, was insane. People like yell. It looked like a mob getting ready to start. All right, and why not? Okay, and so yeah, the poor attendants are trying to, we'll try to get you out the earliest available flight. At which point, this is Sunday night. I take my cell phone and I go to Southwest, right? And I go to their site and I'm reading, when's the next available flight to Denver? Tuesday morning.
This is Sunday night.
This Sunday night. Tuesday morning is their next available. That's the flight they're going to get all these 200 people on. We all have to stay in Pittsburgh another whole night, day, and night. That's it. I'm so ticked off. I got on the phone. I called Valerie at home, told her what happened. God bless her and my daughter-in-law, Nicole. From that point on, she says, well, keep your phone on. She goes, we'll see what we can do about getting you out of there tomorrow morning, maybe with a different airline. But in the meantime, she goes, you want to go to a hotel? Rob, I just don't want to spend any more money. I don't want to get on a cab, go to some ridiculous hotel I don't know, I've never been to, try to get a room, try to make sure I'm up, blah, blah. I said, no, I'm staying here. So 75 years old, I'm camping out at the Pittsburgh International Airport. Joy. Anyways,
and I'm about an hour away at a hotel in Ohio at that point. So
yeah, but there's no way I wanted you to backtrack. That was ridiculous. So
I could have. It's like an hour and a half, but I could have done it.
I found it nice. The point was that as the evening wore on, Valerie and Nicole got back to me, and basically, God bless them both, they found a Delta flight leaving at first thing on Monday morning at 7 o'clock, and they booked me on it. And sure enough, so I spent the night there, got up, slept as best I could on the floor in the stupid plastic chairs, right? As soon as the kiosks opened up, I got a coffee, and sure enough, good old Delta was right there at 7 a.m., got on the plane. They flew me to Minneapolis, where I had a holdover for a couple hours, and I got on a flight to Denver. And Nicole, I originally booked a shuttle. This is what usually when I do when I travel, because Fort Collins is an hour away from the airport.
Right.
Yeah. I don't bother the family or whatever. But in this case, I was just so bloody tired. I'd missed the shuttle Sunday night. Val said, relax, we're gonna come pick you up. So sure enough, I think I got into Denver around 1 o'clock Monday afternoon, was back home by 2:30, exhausted, a little frustrated, but just happy to be home. And you know what? This is what's going on across the country now. And just this morning, all right, we're due to fly out to New England in October. We're going to New England for 2 weeks vacation at the start of October. We've got our flights booked and everything else. And what's Valerie tell me? I'm getting my coffee out of the kitchen. I'm walking into my office to get ready to do this podcast. And Valerie waves at me from the bedroom and go, what? And she's got her earbuds on. She's got her laptop. And she goes, the pilots have all gone on strike.
Well, the thing is, they should. They should, because they're under a great deal of pressure.
Yep.
But apparently, it's the pilots that are picketing are not interfering with flights. It's not putting any flights. These are guys that are off duty.
Right.
But still,
it's indicative of the mess the industry is in right now. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I looked at Valerie and I went, road trip. And she went, no freaking way.
Well, check out trains. Amtrak is looking pretty good right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's looking really, really good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I wish it worked a lot better, because I could do it and it'd be cheaper for me. The only problem is I can't ship the books. The books are what makes it expensive.
Oh, I could get on a train at Union Station in Denver and one day be in Chicago. I'd have one night sleepover, which I'd absolutely love. That's not a problem. I love trains. I've traveled before, and hook up with you in Chicago the next day. It'd be a piece of cake. But until they can work out this whole thing of inventory and traveling, baggage and boxes and whatever.
Because Amtrak used to be able to box stuff up and ship it with them.
That's right.
But because of the pandemic, they've stopped doing that. Yeah. So, and I could drive 40 minutes south to Jefferson City, Missouri, from where I live, and get on an Amtrak train and go to Chicago for not much money, really, when you look at it.
Yeah, I mean,
It would work. And then we could get to Chicago, rent a car for the weekend, travel to and do Windy City that way. That would be beautiful. But
it would.
The books. We could go attend the show, but we couldn't bring any books with us.
Yeah,
or if I ship them another way, it's too expensive. But anyway, that's all. That's
okay.
all a whole idea.
Hey, look. All right. Why don't I take? We've got 2 releases since our last show, and we'll get into those, and then talk a little bit about what's coming ahead, and finally wrap up with my joke. So, what did we release since our podcast number 86 was? The first one was The Omnibus, Jezebel Johnson, Rise of a Buccaneer. Now, this was our second omnibus edition from this Pirate Queen saga by the amazing Nancy Hansen. Let's remember the Pulp Factory Grand Master Award-winning Nancy Hansen. This one collects books 5 through 8, which were Volume 5, Danus, Volume 6, Sisters of Vengeance, Volume 7, Mastiff, and Volume 8, Revelation. Rob provided the new cover and all the interior illustrations in it. One of the things I got a kick out is when we released this, Nancy made a point of posting on Facebook, and it's a good selling point that we should tell people about. And it makes her deliriously happy when we do the omnibus, because basically instead of buying 4 books at $15 or $18 from Amazon, all right, you can get these same 4 books, every single word reprinted exactly everything, all right, a whole lot cheaper than buying them individually. So again, that was one of the reasoning behind doing omnibus editions.
Yeah, I think the price on Amazon is $25. It would sell it for $20 at a show. I mean, it's a thick book, but it's it's
so
got
you're talking
everything's exactly the same as the books.
Right. Yep. Right. So so 40. We're talking like $20, $25 as opposed to $60 buying them even at our tables. That's a huge savings. Okay, so we got the omnibus. And then we actually got a book out. I'll let you pick up on that one.
So this one is Strings Attached. It's a Sam Dunn mystery by Fred Adams Jr. This is the 3rd in the series of the musician turned detective. And this time, he has to solve the puzzle of a very special guitar that once belonged to a famous blues man. Sam Salas is providing the interior illustrations, and the front cover is a symbol from a picture very dear to our Captain Ron. So, Ron, you want to tell him about the cover?
Yeah, definitely, because you'll be posting a picture of it in the show notes, anyways. But again, as the write-up says, these mysteries involved a guitar composer named Sam Dunn. And when we had done the first 2 books, Melody of Murder and what was the other one? Oh, now I'm drawing a blank just because I wanted to say it. But the 2 covers Rob did, he used actual pictures. Okay, we did like photorealistic pictures, which is something we haven't done on any other series, I think, except Fred's own Pulp Writer, which was a real typewriter image.
Right. This one.
Okay, so
Ike. No.
Mars.
Ike Mars. We do? We do photo covers for that too. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only other one we do. They're both for Fred. So, which is interesting. That's kind of something I hadn't given a thought about. They're both Fred books.
there was a thing about wanting to stick with the continuity, which is what we always do when we have a series of books. Try to make them look, similar in design, or style, or appeal. And Rob does a great job with that. So Rob and I kicked this idea around. Okay, so this is the story about a guitar, all right, that has a secret in it that Sam discovers, and it leads to, all kinds of mischief, murder, crime, and whatever. And I'm trying to wrap my head around what we could put on the cover till you get one of those, senior moments the light bulb does go off, bing. In that, my own son, Kevin Fortier, is also a guitarist musician. At one time when he was in high school, he had his own rock band. He still plays. He loves playing. He's studied classical guitar and everything else. So old Captain Ron goes through the family albums on file, and I've got several great pictures of Kevin strumming one of his electric guitars. And one of them I went, oh my Lord, that's Sam Dunn. So I sent it to Rob. We dressed it up with a little bit of green overlook with the death symbol, like from poison bottles or whatever, okay?
Right.
To give it that drama, the murder mystery to be solved and whatever. But it's Kevin out there. And as I've told this story before, I think I told the last podcast, but I will repeat it as well because it's too much fun. Knowing we were going to do this after Rob designed the cover, I sent it to Kevin and basically wanted his permission, because if he didn't want his picture on a book cover, then okay, we think of something else. Kevin gets back to me and he goes, "All right, that's so cool, Dad. That's great." And this was, he says, I got your email and I saw the attachment. He goes, and he says, "Man," he says, "I was so curious as to which guitar you used."
He didn't care whether he was on the cover or not, just which guitar.
Right, because he's got at least three of them. All right, electric, and so so he was all excited and he loved it. You'll see it at the end of the footnotes. It came out great. We passed it along to Fred. We saw Fred at Pulp Fest. We told him what Fred thought that was a cool idea. So there you go. It's a family affair. What can I say?
It was a cheap model.
Okay. So. Anyways,
have to pay a model to do the cover. Okay, so
yeah.
So what's coming next, Ron?
Okay, all right. So up next is one that's been in the queue for well over a year. Zeppelins Over Africa, an alternate world adventure novel featuring World War I of airships by Gene Morris. Artist Mike Harris finally finished the last illustration just last week, and Brian McCullough had already turned in a really beautiful cover that's been around for well over a year. The holdup was, Mike, and hey, I'm not saying that accusatory. It's people have lives, and when they work for us, we get it, we understand. And he kept turning in illustrations as time allowed him to do that with his private life, and he did 9 of them. Every single one, from the first one to the last,
very nice.
Is gorgeous.
Nicely done.
Absolutely beautiful. So, I got a hold of Gene with the contracts. Gene was beside himself that the book's finally coming out.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, when you see it, the wait will have been worth it. And I hope you loyal him and we'll give it a look. It's a lot of fun. It's a great series. And the possibility exists it could be the first of a series. It's a world that, like I said, it's a different world than ours, alternate world adventure. It reads really, really fun. And again, Mike Harris's illustrations dead on. So it's a great book. I'm very proud of it.
It's at the proofreader right now being looked at. So it may be out in the next week or so.
And then what happens, my good old buddy? What's next?
All right. Next is in the queue is Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective Volume 18. It will feature 2 short stories, one from I.A. Watson and the other from Michael Black, with a full-length novella by Ray Lovato. I'm doing the interior illustrations, and we hope to have a cover by Warren Montgomery. I guess you talked to him about doing it, and he's put it in his queue. So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a done deal.
You had an idea for it, and you pitched it at him, or
No,
you just handed it off to him. Okay.
Well, the only caveat we have for Sherlock Holmes, Rob, is that it features both Holmes and Watson on the cover.
Right.
And then again, as you know, I leave the depiction of those characters to whoever their favorite Holmes are, or if they want to do an original on their own. Mm-hmm. If there are actors they like Jeremy Brett, Peter Cushing, Radmo, I don't care. All I want is both figures on the cover, and that's what I told Warren. Okay, now Warren had done one previous cover for us, and it impressed both of us enough that that was why I turned around and said, "Hey, want to jump in on the Sherlock Holmes stuff?" Because he'd done Bass Reeves, our last Bass Reeves cover. Yeah, and it's a beautiful cover. He did an excellent job with it. So, like I said, sadly, the passing of his mother last week, and he was recently at a convention up in Portland, Oregon. So he's got a full plate, but I'm kind of hoping you're into the illustrations now. I've just seen the second one this morning, which I absolutely loved. So I'm thinking by the time you wrap up the 12 illustrations for this volume, hopefully Warren will be in a place where we should be seeing that cover, and it should be coming.
His life will have settled down by then. Yeah, we hope. Yeah.
Okay. So then, hot on its heels, and I mean hot on its heels, is The Purple Scar Volume 4, which features stories by Gene Moyers, Felix Cruz, Michael Housel, and Fred Adams Jr. The interiors are currently being illustrated by artist Chuck Wardell. I think he's up to 6 or 7 now of 12.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Yeah.
Doing a dynamite job with it. There's no cover artist assigned yet, but because I love what Chuck is doing with the interior illustrations, Rob, and because this is that one pulp hero that both you and I get a kick out of, the horror element behind it, I'm really giving some thought to contacting Adam Shaw to see if this is something he'd like to tackle.
Yeah, that might be. He might be interested in that. Yeah, because it's a little different from the Poe cover was kind of horror, but this would be even
more so. Even more so. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Purple Scar is a weird character.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then finally, after that, we go to
After Sunset. It's a Western novel by Jonathan Casey. Artist Sam Salas is currently doing interior illustrations. No cover artist has been assigned yet. So that one's in process as well. And any of these could jump the shark and be right at the top of the queue real quick.
Well, one of the things I probably should. Yeah, speaking just like that, one of the things I should mention is that we're still hanging in there with the Adventures of Radio Rita, Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only because poor Mel Odom, the writer, has had one kind of family crisis after another the last 4 or 5 months, all right, which has stopped him from getting his story into me, the last story, all right? And like 2 weeks ago, he drops me a line, and he's like so apologetic. And Mel's such a great writer and a professional, Kurt, the whole 9 yards. The kicker is he's like, I'm so ashamed of myself, Ron. I'm not like I should have this story to you. I'll have it to you over the weekend. Well, the weekend comes and no story. Into the middle of this week, right? And I went, oh, come on, Mel, what's going on? And he privied me to some of the issues he and his family had, and I understood. And so now, though, okay, he was so dead sure. He had the plot. He was halfway through it. So Tuesday, Wednesday, I dropped him a line and said, Mel, please don't tell me something else happened. He writes back and goes, oh, yeah, I just got out of the hospital. He said I was in there for 7 days with COVID.
Oh, man.
I swear I wrote him back. I said, Mel, I said, if you didn't have any bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck.
Wow.
This has been a horrible year for Mel. My heart goes out to him. So anyways,
Man.
once that book gets out, it will have been produced by blood, sweat, and tears. Let me tell you.
Holy cow. Wow. Well, it's been we're into the 3rd year of COVID now. It's just turned the world upside down. That's part of why the airlines are having problems like they are. You know, it's affected everything. It's strange how a little bug like that can essentially turn everyone's life upside down. Just crazy. Just crazy.
The reverberations of this are going to be felt decades from now. I mean, this past weekend, Valerie and I had the good fun of attending and being guests at our local little comic show here in Fort Collins, the FOCO Comic Con, Saturday and Sunday. And a nice little turnout. It had been missing for 2 years, so we had a lot of people show up who hadn't been here before, and or missed it, I should say, in a long time. So in the course of the show, I was talking to one gentleman at our table, and he made a really insightful little thought. He goes, he says, when I was growing up, he says, I can remember hearing my grandparents talk about the Great Depression, and all the heartaches and everything else they dealt with. He says, I don't wonder if 50, 60 years from now, our grandkids will be telling their kids and grandkids, oh, the years of COVID when we had to do this and we couldn't go to school. And and pretty much, all right, it's going to, this isn't going to just go away. It's going to be with us for a while to come.
Yep. It's the way of the world.
It is.
We share this world with other creatures, and sometimes they assert their influence over our lives.
Hey. All right. Anyways,
so
okay, that's it. That's it for the agenda. What would you like to talk?
I have one more item, and this is our friends at Silverline Comics have another Kickstarter up, And yours truly is involved in a couple of ways. I did the cover for the remix of the comics Sirens, issue number 2. And also included in this offering is Twilight Grim number 4, the final chapter in R.A. Jones's Vampire Killer miniseries. I've offered up some original art and sketches as add-ons. Fans can also purchase any previous Silverline books in print as add-ons, including the first 3 issues of Twilight Grim if they missed them. I'll put the website link in the show description comment section below the podcast on the YouTube channel, and hopefully as a caption in the video. We raised 2/3 of the requested funds in the first 24 hours. So hurry over if you want any of the add-ons. I hate to say it, but many of the one-of-a-kind items may already be gone. So as soon as you see this and you're interested in this, hop on over to that Kickstarter and check it out. See if there's any of the add-ons that you would like to add on to your purchase right away, because they seem to be going fast. So anyway, now, did you have anything else you wanted to say before we all cringe?
Oh, okay. No, I don't. No, I don't. I want, hey, with the ups and downs of the internet connection we have here in Colorado, I'm just tickle pink. We should do my joke and then vamoose. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I said this one was a fitting capstone. Now it's nowhere as long as yours, my friend.
Okay, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, but when I read it, okay, online, I went, oh, this is for Rob. This one's for you, buddy. This one is totally for you.
Oh, no, man.
I guarantee you are going to love this. So here we go, okay? A little girl was sitting on her granddad's lap while he read her a story. She kept taking her eyes off the book and reaching up and touching his old wrinkled face. After a few times of doing this, she finally asked, "Grandpa, were you made by God?" "Yes, dear," he replied. "I was made by God a long time ago." The little girl paused for a moment and then asked, "Did God make me?" "Of course, dear," replied the grandfather. "God made you not so long ago." The girl felt her own face and then her grandfather's again, thought for a moment and said, "God's getting better at it, isn't he?"
Yes, dear, he is. Let's hope.
It was just so cute, and of course, with your fondness here of the birth of your first grandchild, of this sweet, beautiful little girl, I said, "Oh, we're going to do this."
Brindley Sage Davis. She's a cutie pie. She's downstairs with Grandma right now. In fact,
okay.
Yeah, she's visiting with us. We babysit her a couple of days a week, so she's with us today, and she's always a joy to have around. It's just, she's the smilingest, happiest baby you've ever seen. So yeah, it's pretty cool having her come visit. So
I see
that's apropos.
Yeah, all right. I'm sure Teresa will get a big kick out of it. I see the pictures you post all the time online, and I got to tell you, I mean, our first, all right, Christy. She's 30 years old now. What the
Time
heck?
passes way too fast.
Oh, yeah. And the same will happen to Renly. The same thing will happen to Renly. Just enjoy those moments, man. Just cherish every single one of them. All right. Hey, look, we've done it. We got episode 87 in the can.
Yeah, this is a short one, but that's okay. We didn't have a whole lot to talk about this time.
Hopefully when we get back,
that's the way of the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully when we get back to you, a lot of those books that we talked about that were coming to the front will be out.
Yeah. Yep.
Hopefully the airlines will get their act together and my wife and I can get back to New Hampshire to visit some friends.
I think that's going to be a long time coming, unfortunately, because it's about they laid people off or furloughed people, let people retire early from the airlines, so they're short on staff. And that's part of the problem. But it'll eventually work itself out. But we're not there yet.
Okay. All right. Hey, look.
They get you to New Hampshire and back in one piece and
Amen.
quickly. Yep.
Amen.
Yep.
Go ahead and sign us out, Chief Engineer.
All right. This is Chief Engineer Rob Davis signing off.
And as ever, Captain Ron says, down ship.
Down ship.